What's up, y'all? This is I'm So Beastly. This is Mr. Richard. Yes, the Mr. Richard, the author, Mr. Richard. Yeah, all right. Obviously, I'm going to pump it. Below in the description, you will see a link to my books. Both books, yes, I just published a second book. The first one, Winston Feathersby, I'll let you know how it goes. And the second one, Dream Journal. Both of those links will be down below. Go snipe them, don't snipe them, whatever. It's up to you. All right. As stated, this is I'm So Beastly, a podcast where I try to talk about positive things, how to be a better person, hopefully how to interact with society in a better way. Hopefully you enjoy my voice. I'm just talking. I can hear it through my headphones. I had them on backwards, and it was terribly uncomfortable, so we switched them up, and now we're good to go. Uh, And of course, as always, there are no plans when we come into this. Maybe a overall topic, which I do have that I do want to talk about because, well, let's just get into it. Uh, so recently, we just started school back. If you didn't know, I am a teacher. I teach middle school. Um, so we just started school back. And given that I teach at a very different school, we can do different things. And one of the things I did in class was I had the students sit in silence. I played some sweet tunes in the background, but none of the kids could talk or do anything except they had to essentially do self-reflections. Right. So the first time we did it 2 days in a row. The first day I had them sit in silence for 30 minutes, and you would not believe, maybe you would, how difficult it is for 12 and 13-year-olds to just sit in silence for 30 minutes, to sit still with no distractions for 30 minutes. Um, I mean, 30 minutes is not a long time, but it is an eternity, it seems, for, middle school children. But a lot of them did better than I expected. Some of them struggled mightily. But, that's why we do this. They're not used to sitting in silence without distractions. They're not used to just sitting without distractions. They're usually on a phone or listening to music or something. And yes, I was playing tunes, I was playing frequencies. So I don't necessarily see that as a distraction since I was playing a healing frequency. Um, but it's hard for them to be with their own thoughts. And that's what we need. We need to be with our own thoughts. We need to self-reflect. So I had them do this. I had them sit in silence for 30 minutes, just letting their thoughts wander, not filtering them at all, not really thinking about anything, just letting the thoughts come in and see how they reacted. And then after the 30 minutes was up, I had them write down for the next 10 or 15, basically till class was over, um, every single thought that came into their head. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter what it was, just write everything down that you remembered. Um, some of them had ramblings like chain reactions from, cheese to cheesy popcorn to corn on the cob. I don't know. That's just a silly example. But some of them had that. Some of them had more deeper thoughts. Some of them had more emotions. So there's a huge, huge range of thoughts that came into these kids' heads in the span of 30 minutes. Some of them said they had more thoughts than they figured they would, and some of them said they had less. They said they were on repeat. Some of the thoughts just kept going over and over again. Okay. Um, but they all said that with that, it did real. I wouldn't say all of them. The majority of them said that the sitting in silence did help them relax more, and they felt more at peace and less jumbled in the head, I suppose. That's my words, not theirs, but that's basically what they were saying. Um, and some of them definitely enjoyed it. Some of them fell asleep. No, no harm, no foul. Uh, but this was the first step in that, right? To get them used to or just see what it feels like to sit in silence, to be without distractions for a really short period of time. Okay. And then the next day, so day one was was just allowing the thoughts to flow. Day two, we did the same thing. However, this time instead of doing the writing after the fact, they did it during the silence. Uh, and so instead of having the thoughts wander and writing down anything, what I did was I had them focus on their short-term wants and needs, their long-term wants and needs, and as well the emotions they felt when sitting in silence without distractions. Did it make them feel better? Did it make them feel worse? Were they happy? Were they sad? Were they relaxed? Were they anxious? Anything that they felt to write down as well. And so we took these, and the assignment was a letter to me. So taking your short-term goals, write a short-term letter. Taking your long-term wants and needs, write a long-term letter to yourself. Um, and kind of like basically seeing later down the road when they read this, did you accomplish what you set out to do? Is your mind different, then than it is now? Um, Basically, did you grow as a person? Did you change as a person? Growth, it doesn't even necessarily have to be growth, just did you change as a person? Do you see major changes as a possibility? Are you open to a major change, right? Do you understand how to change? Okay. And the main reason why we did this self-reflection, why I had them do this self-reflection is my goal as a teacher is sure one to teach them, the curriculum that I'm supposed to teach them standards so they can pass the test at the end of the year and the school can get money and they can go on and move to the next grade, get into honors classes, get into a good high school, good college, all that jazz, yada, yada, yada. And that's all well and good. However, my main goal as a teacher, as a human, is to uh, get these people to understand what they're capable of. Understand that they do have the control. They don't need to just go about day by day doing everything everyone else wants them to do. And obviously, I'm not saying just rebel against everything. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is they need to understand that they need to understand who they are, right? And that's what these moments of silence are about. That's what these times in your own head are about, to truly understand who you are. To do that self-reflection. Without self-reflection, it's impossible to grow. Without giving yourself moments, away from distractions, if you don't step away from distractions, then it's impossible to know who you are. It's impossible to know, um, what your true thoughts are, where you need to grow, where you need to change. It's impossible, right? So take the distractions away and you can see inside yourself and really understand who you are as a person. What do you really want out of life? Where do you see yourself going? What can you really do? What are you truly capable of? We all have innate abilities at birth, right? I'm a healer. I've healed myself before. I've healed my girlfriend before. Like I've healed people, to different extents. Okay, like, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again. Um, Speaking of saying things before, let me get back to this topic. Um, my goal to 1 million subscribers by episode 134. I'm at 24 on my YouTube and I'm at 9 on the podcast. So we're grooving. I want to say this is episode 8, so we have 126 episodes to go. All right, we can get there. All right, little sidetrack there. Um, but uh, but no, so like I said, I'm a healer. Okay, I've healed people, right? And And I'll say this, and this is where I realized I was a healer. So I had heard what the mind could do. Um, and so I was in a point, I looked in and I said, what do I want? Do I want to answer questions today? I just decided to do a deep meditation. I said, is my goal to answer questions today, or is my goal to try something that I've been curious about? And I'd been curious about what the mind could do. I'd heard about it being able to heal. And so I took this opportunity to try it out myself. And I focused all of my energy on my shoulder. I had 17 years of daily pain, intense daily pain. Like it made life very difficult, daily type of pain. And so I would say in 30 minutes to an hour, I kind of lost track of time as you do in a deep meditation. Could have been less, could have been longer. Honestly, I have no clue. Um, but I focused all of my energy on my shoulder, on taking the pain away. And in, let's just call it an hour. In an hour, I did not have the energy to move my arms or legs. I had to lie down for another 30 or so minutes. Once again, meditation, lost track of time, unsure. Um, but in that hour, I took the pain away. It's been 2.5 years and I have not had any pain in my shoulder. Like there's been soreness, of course, from working out and other things, but daily pain, not for 2.5 years. And to those of you who live with daily pain, I don't know, um, like I'm sure you understand, but to have the ability to do that, to understand that you can do that, it really gives you a perspective on what the mind is truly capable of, right? And this is not exclusive to me. Many people can do this. Everybody has the ability to do something, right? I'm just using this as an example because I'm a healer. And I knew that through self-reflection, through finding out different things, through asking questions, finding where my gaps were, right? Sitting in silence, letting the universe speak to me, tell me who I am, tell me what I need to know. And they told me basically, learn as much as you can. And by doing so, I then was able to understand that I had the power to heal, at least to take pain away. I mean, the injury is still there, but the pain is gone. And that is perfectly fine with me. Okay? So I guess my whole point is I did this because I took distractions away. Right? I focused my mental energy on myself, on my well-being, on me as an individual, not in a selfish way. But then again, also, yeah, kind of in a selfish way. Sometimes we need to be selfish, right? It's not always a bad thing to be selfish. Okay, I focused all of my energy on myself. I was not focusing on anything other than my well-being, my physical well-being, my mental well-being, right? I focused on myself, took distractions away, and all of this came because I did a self-reflection. Okay, my goal was to understand these things, whether I realized it or not. And through this reflection, I got my answers. I got my answers. And now I'm even more curious. Now it's been 2.5 years, yes, but I'm even more curious what the mind can do, right? So, I'm a healer, but then we have, people who can channel. We have uh, people who can speak telepathically. We can all speak telepathically to some extent, but it comes easier to others. Um, I guess elaborating on that, we can all do pieces of these different abilities, but some are uniquely gifted to just be better at those things. I am best at healing. I can speak telepathically sometimes, specifically to ETs most of the time. Um, and we've all spoken telepathically at some point, whether we realize it or not. We all have that ability. Some can do it better than others. I have channeled at some points, not very strong, right? I'm not a channeler. That's not my innate ability, but I can do it, right? But the only way we can understand what we are who we truly are as a person, on a deeper, deeper level is through self-reflection, through getting rid of the distractions. The distractions are the most detrimental aspect of society. All of these things, yes, they make life easier. Most of the things that distract us make life easier, right? But so many of them actually prevent us from living our lives, right? Television, yes, it's entertaining, it's fabulous. I love watching television, but it distracts us from actually living our lives. We're watching other people live their lives or pretend to live a life instead of living our own. Okay? Sports, same thing, right? Video games, same thing. Yes, there is that social aspect to an extent with video games, but you're not really living your life. You're living a life through another character, but you're not living your life to the fullest extent. You're not reaching out. You're not trying to gain as much knowledge as possible. And that's what all of this is about, is to gain as much knowledge as possible and to truly experience everything that we can. But then again, on the other hand, perhaps that is the life that you chose for this soul contract. Maybe you chose the life to be distracted. Maybe you chose the life to not live your life, in a sense, for lack of better words, right? So I guess my whole point of this, of course, unplanned, speaking off the top, it's nearly impossible to live without distractions 100%. So we must try to limit distractions as best as possible and at least try to do a self-reflection in silence once a week. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you can handle. A weekly self-reflection with a journal would be the ideal situation. It would help you in all aspects. Okay, you wouldn't be just thinking it and seeing it with your mind's eye. You would actually be recording it to be able to look back at it later. That is key. That is true reflection. Okay? Because then if you write it down, you can actually go back, look at it, study it, and reflect and grow and really understand. Okay? I mean, I suppose I'm talking in circles now, so it's about time that I hop off. It's been fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. But if you haven't, thank you for listening this far. And maybe we'll see you next time. Maybe we won't. Maybe next topic will spark your interest a little more. But we'll see. If not, thanks for joining us. If it does, see you next time. All right. This is I'm So Beastly, episode 8, I think. Ooh, we'll see. I'm Mr. Richard. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Whatever. Um, all right. Catch y'all next time.